this project, I'm using bernat blanket yarn. This color I have here is almond, but I'm also using another color, this gray one, and I don't have the label for this, so I'm not sure what color it is. This yarn is super bulky, weight 6, and I'm using a size M 9mm crochet hook. This entire project is done using just half double crochets, so it's pretty simple and really quick to make. Starting on the main piece, the body part, I'm going to chain 36. This will be the length of the sweater from your shoulder down to your waist, wherever you want it to land, excluding a few inches because that's where you'll do the trim. So mine is 36 chains. You can do more or less depending on the length you want your sweater to be. The first row is just half double crochets all the way across. Instead of doing my stitches into the tops of the chains like I guess is common, but I always do mine on the backs of the chains, so that way this part will be flat on the bottom and it makes a straighter edge. So I turn it to the side, and you can see on the back there's this loop in the back. That's where I place my stitches, if you want to do it the same way as me. Rows 2 through 10 are all the same. You'll chain 1 and turn. And continuing the half double crochets, but only doing the back loops only. So instead of going into the front of the stitch like you normally would, you'll go into just the back loop. So I'm going to do this until I finish row 10. If you're making a different size, the number of rows you do just depends on that. So this will be facing this direction, the width of the shoulder. So you can do more or less rows just depending on how big you want your sweater to be. Row 11 is going to begin the same way. Chain 1 and turn, and a half double crochet across, back loops only. I'm going to do this for the whole row until I have 6 stitches left. I was just doing the next part and realized I wasn't filming, so I undid it. That's why my loops are put up there. So just ignore that. But I finished row 11. There are still 6 stitches left. Here I'm skipping those. The 11th row will end here. Chain 1 and turn. And now rows 12 through 17 will all be the same. Half double crochet, back loops only. So I'm doing this part for my sweater is going to be rows, I'm going to finish this on row 17. You can do more or less rows depending on the size that you're making. This is the portion where your neck will go. So this is one shoulder. Now we're working on the neck part, and then after this we'll be on to the next shoulder. So you can make this however big you want it. For mine, I'm going to finish it on row 17. And for each row, he'll just be doing half double crochet back loops only, chain 1 and turn at the end of each row. I forgot to mention, for the sizing, if you're doing a different size, this length here can be adjusted. You can skip more than 6 stitches. I skipped 6, but if you want a longer space for the neck portion, you can skip as many stitches as you need to. So I just finished row 17, and now for row 18, I skipped 6 stitches here, so here I'm going to chain 7. Turn, and now I'm just going to do half double crochets across this chain. And now you should have the same amount of stitches that you had on the other shoulder. So now I'm going to do half double crochets, back loops only for the rest of the row. And you'll continue doing that for the same number of rows that you did on the other shoulder. So on mine, I'm going to finish on row 27. I'm going to keep doing half double crochets, back loops only for this second shoulder until I finish row 27. I finished row 27, so I'm going to cut my yarn and finish off. Now I'm going to be working on the bottom of the sweater down here. So you can use the same color if you want, but I don't have enough of this color, so I'm doing this portion with a different color. Just attach your yarn. So you can see these rows of loops that we didn't crochet through, which was from doing the half double crochets into the back loops only. So in between each of those rows is a section here, and in each of those sections I'm going to do 3 half double crochets. Mine equaled 40, but that's because of the number of rows I did. If you did a different amount of rows, you'll have a different number of half double crochets here. So that's 3 in that section. And going into the next portion, just continue doing 3 half double crochets in each one. At the end of the last full section, there's one more stitch here, so I'm going to do my last half double crochet in that. And that is a total of 40 half double crochets for my row. So I'll chain 1 and turn, and I'm just half double crocheting all the way across this row. At the end of this row, I'll chain 1 and turn, and then I'll do one last row of half double crochets. The exact same as this row. I've done a total of 3 half double crochet rows, so I'm going to cut the yarn and finish off. And that's it for that section of the sweater. You'll make 2 identical pieces just like this. So now we're going to start on the sleeves. So I'm going to chain 38. This will be the length of your sleeve, so you can do more or less rows, however many you want, however long you want your sleeves to be. You will have the gray trim at the end, the same way that we did on the main piece of the sweater. So however long you make your chain, just leave room for that. This will be done the same way we did the main piece of the sweater. So the first row is half double crochet across, and then at the end of every row you'll chain 1 and turn, and rows 2 through 15 are just going to be half double crochet back loops only, the same way that we were doing the other part of the sweater. So I'll finish the first row just half double crochets across, and then rows 2 through 15 half double crochet back loops only. Row 16 is the same, half double crochet back loops only. But for row 16, I stopped here while I still had 11 stitches left. And into the next stitch, I'm going to do a slip stitch, and then cut the yarn and finish off. And then I'm going to flip it over to this side. So right here is where I finished that 16th row. And then over here I'm going to connect my yarn. And I'm going to do the same thing I did in this row, which is half double crochet back loops only, and then I'll stop when I have 11 stitches left in the row. There are 11 stitches left in the row, so I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch and cut my yarn and finish off. now I'll be working on the trim, same way I did on the previous piece. So I'm going to connect yarn down here at the bottom. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, which is 3 half double crochets in each section. I've done 3 rows of the gray yarn at the bottom, so I'm going to hit the yarn and finish off. And you'll make 2 sleeves just the same. Now I'm going to start sewing it all together, so I'm going to lay both of the main pieces on top of each other so that I can start sewing the shoulders. And normally I would do this with the same color yarn that I used here, but I ran out of that one, so I'm just going to connect it using the gray yarn. But I advise, if you have more of your main color, to use that instead. I'm just going to connect them using single crochets. So I'll go through one shoulder and continue through to the other side of the shoulder. And just do single crochets all the way across. Once you've finished that shoulder, you can cut your yarn and finish off. You can see a little of the yarn going through, which is why I recommend using the main color that you used. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this side and just connect this side using single crochets the same way I did this shoulder. I'm going to be sewing the sleeves now. So fold that in half. Once you have finished sewing this shut all the way down, starting on this end, and ending up here. Now we're going to start connecting it to the sweater. I'm starting from the shoulder here. I'm going to line the sleeve up with it with the seam where you sewed it shut. That's going to be facing downward, away from the shoulder. So line that up where the shoulder meets the top of the sleeve. And I'm just going to sew them on using single crochets. I still have my yarn connected here from when I was sewing the sleeve shut, so that's where I'm going to sew. So I'm going to actually flip this over. And now just going through the top layer of the sleeve and the top layer of the sweater, you're going to connect them using single crochets and work in around the sleeve. So here I'm just going through the top layer of the sleeve and then joining it to the top layer of the sweater here. And just sewing together with single crochets. So I'm going to keep doing that all the way around, connecting both of these sides, and then I'll flip over and continue the round onto the back side. I've gone all the way around on the sleeve, so the whole thing is connected in around on both sides. I went from the side and just kept going all the way around. And now I still have the yarn connected, and I'm going to continue going down the seam here. I've got the sleeves connected on both sides and cut my yarn off on the end. So I'm going to start working on the neck now. Here on the neck, I'm going to connect my yarn to one side. And I'm going to do one round of half double crochets around the neck. So I'm just going to go in around completely around the neck, and I'm not counting the stitches. I just want to make sure that they're not spaced too close together. Because I don't want the neck to be too loose. At the end of that round, I'm going to keep going to do another round, and this time I'm going to be decreasing every other stitch. So I'll do one half double crochet. I'm not going to be decreasing every other stitch, I'm going to be decreasing every third stitch. So I'll do one double crochet, another double crochet, and then the third stitch will be decreased. So I'll do that for the whole round, so the next stitch will be one double crochet, double crochet in the next stitch, then decrease the next. So I'm going to keep doing that for the entire round. I just finished a third round of doing the same with half double crochet, decreasing every third stitch. So I'm going to end this round with a slip stitch and turning stitch. And cut the yarn and finish off. Now I'm just going to be using a yarn needle to weave in all of the loose tails.